On a stormy night, an ancient castle stood amidst the chaos. The ground was covered with lifeless bodies, and fresh blood stained the pathways. A girl, gripping a blood-soaked knife, moved forward with determination. Atop the pile of corpses, a man stood, holding his blade tightly. Despite his wounds, he had managed to pass through the ancient ruins and claim the Eye of Judgment. Gasping for breath, he struggled to comprehend the betrayal he had suffered. The girl before him, whom he had once considered family, showed no remorse. She reminded him that he was merely an adopted child with no real blood ties. Another figure emerged from the shadows, his presence bringing a moment of hope before revealing the truth. He had been nothing more than a pawn in their plans. The girl handed over the divine artifact to the newcomer, who accepted it with amusement. The man, weakened and betrayed, could barely contain his fury. He had sacrificed everything for the girl, raising her, protecting her, and ensuring her survival. Yet she dismissed his efforts as nothing more than an inconvenience. Now that she and her true ally had what they wanted, he was no longer needed. Without hesitation, the final blow was delivered, ending his life. Years later, Tan Fong stared at his sister, who was trembling in shock after he had hit her. His gaze was cold and firm as he tossed a bank card at her. It contained the money their parents had left behind, untouched despite his struggles. Without another word, he turned away and walked to his room, slamming the door shut. Inside, he drank a glass of water, his mind set on the future. In his past life, he had sacrificed too much for her, missing crucial opportunities. Now, he was free to follow his own path. Determined, he made his way to a grand hall filled with doors that led to different character classes. Memories of his first experience here flooded his mind, how he had hesitated, wasting precious time before making a choice. This time, he was certain. He had chosen the warrior class before, thinking it was the best way to protect his sister. Now, he needed agility and independence. Without hesitation, he selected the assassin class. As soon as he touched the door, a notification appeared. A powerful artifact, the Eye of Judgment, had remained bound to him even after his rebirth. A deep black mist surrounded him, altering his very being. The system informed him that he had unlocked a rare hidden class, Shadow. His appearance changed, his silver hair glinting under the dim light as black smoke seeped from his form. This transformation brought with it immense power, far beyond anything he had experienced as a warrior. He realized that the Eye of Judgment held an ancient force, capable of overriding the rules of reality itself. Sitting atop a stone statue, he gazed at the distant moon, reflecting on what had just happened. In his previous life, it had taken humanity years to understand the true power of the Forsaken game, learning of divine lands and the concept of order. Yet, from the very beginning of this new life, he possessed something that no one else had, a primal force that defied the very foundation of the game. If he could reach the land of order before anyone else, he could unlock even greater power. The system prompted him to choose a name. Without hesitation, he selected Shadow, a name fitting for his new identity. The moment he confirmed it, he was transported into the Forsaken Divine Land, a vast and desolate region filled with monstrous creatures that fed on human lifespan. A notification warned him of the dangers. Death in this game would drain half of his remaining years, while survival and hunting monsters could extend his life. Arriving in Shelltown, the game's safe zone, he observed the chaotic scene around him. Confused newcomers muttered to themselves, trying to make sense of their surroundings. Some had just fallen asleep and awakened in this world. Others had been going about their daily lives before suddenly appearing here. Some pinched themselves, hoping to wake from what they assumed was a dream. It was clear that thousands had been dragged into the game without warning. Many turned their attention toward Tan Fong. His unusual aura and appearance set him apart. Whispers spread. Some guessed he was an assassin. Others noticed the dark energy surrounding him and speculated about a hidden class. A group of wounded players staggered back into town, groaning in frustration. They had underestimated the creatures outside, barely surviving their first battles. One complained about losing half his lifespan to a single attack, while others discussed strategies to defeat even the weakest monsters. Among them, a girl sat on the ground, clutching a longbow, an unusual weapon for a beginner. Tan Fong recognized immediately that she must have obtained a hidden class as well. She noticed him watching her and stood up quickly, eager to form an alliance. Tan Fong, however, had his own plans. He was no longer the same person who had once put others before himself. This time, he would forge his own destiny, no longer bound by the past. Tian Fong stood alone in the dangerous land, aware that the monsters were too strong for a single person to handle. His team had already been wiped out, leaving him as the only survivor. While others hesitated, he remained determined. He had a special hidden class, which made him confident in his abilities. A group of players watched him, skeptical of his decision to go alone. They had fought together and failed, yet he believed he could succeed solo. Some dismissed his actions, while others were curious. They decided to follow him from a distance, hoping to learn about his skills or witness his downfall. As Tan Fong moved through the unfamiliar terrain, he felt the presence of those tracking him. Sensing their gaze, he activated his stealth ability. A dark aura surrounded him before he vanished into thin air. The players watching were stunned. They had never seen a skill like this before. While they debated what class he belonged to, they chose to return to town, realizing it was too risky to continue exploring without a plan. Hidden nearby, Tan Fong checked his system information. His abilities allowed him to enter stealth mode, attack from the shadows, and gain a boost upon exiting stealth. His mastery of the skill made him undetectable by players and monsters alike. Unlike regular assassins who were easier to spot, his presence was nearly impossible to detect. He reviewed his stats. As a Shadow class player, he had balanced stat boosts. With Tan Fong decided to test his abilities, using his evolution points to enhance his stealth and backstab skills. His Shadow ability now lasted longer, allowing him to remain hidden for extended periods. Attacking from stealth also dealt significantly more damage, making it a powerful tool in combat. With these improvements, he felt confident in his ability to take on stronger foes. As he observed his surroundings, a group of players nearby boasted about their strength. One of them, a tall and muscular man, loudly claimed he could protect others with ease. While they chatted, something watched them from above. Tan Fong noticed the danger first, a massive spider hiding in the trees. He quickly activated his stealth ability, disappearing from view. The group remained unaware until the giant spider suddenly dropped down, ambushing them. They panicked, realizing too late that they were outmatched. The creature, known as a breeder, was far stronger than the average monster. Not only did it have high health, but it also commanded smaller spiders that quickly surrounded the players. Tan Fong saw this as the perfect opportunity to test his skills. Moving in quickly, he struck the breeder with a precise attack to its head, causing it to screech in pain. Another slash to its belly inflicted further damage. Before the monster could retaliate, he vanished into the shadows. Furious, the spider began attacking everything around it, trying to locate its unseen attacker. Watching closely, Tan Fong analyzed the monster's movements. Though it seemed to strike randomly, the smaller spiders remained alert, making it dangerous to approach carelessly. As the breeder moved closer, he picked up a stone and hurled it at the creature's belly, hitting a weak spot. The attack dealt significant damage, confirming that even simple attacks could be lethal when enhanced by his skills. He leaned against a tree, carefully planning his next move. With his cooldown resetting, he prepared another strike. Throwing another stone at the injured area, he repeated the process, dealing more damage before fading back into the shadows. By continuously alternating between stealth and attacking, he efficiently weakened the monster without taking damage himself. Meanwhile, in town, an announcement suddenly rang out. A system notification revealed that a player named Shadow had just become the first to reach level 2 by defeating a powerful monster. The news shocked the other players, who struggled against even basic enemies. Many doubted the information, unable to believe that someone had already soloed a boss. Others, recognizing the name, recalled seeing the mysterious stealth player earlier. Back at the battlefield, Tan Fong stood over the defeated breeder. The system confirmed his victory, awarding him experience points and boosting him to the next level. He had successfully proven the strength of his unique class and skills, setting himself apart from the rest of the players in the game. Tan Fong reached level 2, earning 2 evolution points and unlocking the Shell Town ranking. His achievement was announced across the town, granting him 1 fame point. As the giant spider disappeared, he realized his mistake. He should have eliminated the smaller ones first for extra experience. Along with his level up, he received 46 tradable lifespan days and several valuable items. A bronze skill book called Greedy Hand, a corrosion bronze dagger with enhanced attack and agility, and a chance to improve his abilities further. Examining Greedy Hand, he saw that it was an assassin skill that increased loot drop chances by 20% when used on monsters. He recognized its potential immediately. In his past life, an ordinary player in the Godslayer Guild had used this skill to gain wealth and influence, rising to prominence with constant rare drops. Tan Fong realized that pairing Greedy Hand with his infinite evolution talent could greatly increase its effectiveness, potentially pushing loot drop rates to extreme levels. Meanwhile, at a school in the real world, a girl named Tan Yodu walked to class with her friend. Her friend brought up her brother, suggesting she should apologize to him for missing a test. Tan Yodu refused, blaming him instead. She dismissed the conversation, but as they approached the classroom, they saw commotion. Inside, a student named Trovi sat at his desk, his body turning transparent. No one understood what was happening, but online reports suggested that many people were experiencing the same phenomenon. Experts were baffled, linking it to sleep, but finding no clear explanation. Concerned, her friend urged her to call her brother, but Tanya Yudu coldly refused, showing no concern for his fate. Back in the game, Tan Fong focused on his new skill. His hand glowed with golden light as Greedy Hand evolved from bronze to gold, increasing its loot chance from 20% to 70%. The system confirmed his success, awarding him 2 more evolution points and additional lifespan days. He was now only 1 evolution point away from upgrading the skill further, aiming for a 100% loot drop rate. Smirking, he activated his stealth ability and considered his next move. He knew that real-world governments must have noticed the strange game phenomenon, leading to more players entering. He needed to get stronger before the chaos truly began. Equipping his new corrosion bronze dagger, he disappeared into the shadows. He understood that as more people realized skills and weapons from the game could affect reality, the world would fall into turmoil. Unlocking abilities required 2 key elements: reaching level 10 and obtaining enough tradable lifespan. Weak enemies wouldn't provide enough of either. He needed stronger monsters. Suddenly, a desperate cry echoed nearby. Looking down from his position, he spotted a red creature with sharp teeth emerging. A runner, a level 2 bronze-grade monster. He grinned at the sight, seeing it as the perfect opportunity to test his growing strength. However, something else caught his attention. A familiar figure stood in front of the monster, holding a shield. Tan Fong recognized him instantly. Wang Man. According to rumors from his past life, Wang Man had quickly formed a powerful 5-man team right after entering the Forsaken Divine Land. Watching him raise his shield, Tan Fong saw a golden light burst forth as Wang Man activated a defensive skill called Holy Shield, preparing for battle. Tan Fong observed the battle from a distance. Wang Man, a warrior with a rare hidden class called Holy Warrior, stood at the front, using his doubled stats and invincibility skill to hold off the monster. A red-haired girl wielding a staff cast a powerful spell, sending a golden swirl toward the enemy. The impact was immense, instantly reducing the monster's health by 70%. Tan Fong quickly identified the girl's class as a prophet mage, capable of dealing double the damage of a regular mage and using fire-based magic. Nearby, an archer continuously fired arrows, his class granting him rapid shots and enhanced stats. Another fighter, a priest with a glowing blue book, provided healing and support. This wandering priest class specialized in group healing and even had offensive capabilities. Despite their efforts, the monster was agile, dodging most of their attacks with ease. Wang Man's shield began to crack under the strain. The battle intensified as Wang Man called for healing while the others focused on chipping away at the monster's health. However, the fight dragged on, and more creatures arrived from the dark forest. 2 polluters, creatures covered in dark mud, appeared behind Wang Man. A swordsman rushed in, attempting to slash the monster, but his weapon got stuck. The creature retaliated, severely wounding him with a poisonous sludge attack, which slowed his movements and left him struggling. Just as the red-hand girl found herself in danger, a swift blue flash struck, instantly decapitating one of the polluters. The group froze, stunned by the sheer power of the unknown attacker. Even low-level creatures that would normally take multiple fighters significant time to kill were eliminated in an instant. Another flash followed, taking out another polluter, while the mysterious fighter claimed ownership of the kills. Tan Fong received a system notification confirming his kills and rewards. He had gained experience points, evolution points, and a skill book for Poison Dart, which he immediately evolved. The upgraded skill increased its range and damage while also applying poison effects. He noted that it synergized well with his passive abilities, allowing him to launch stealthy, continuous attacks. Meanwhile, Wang Man struggled as the monster managed to land a devastating blow, lifting him into the air and severely injuring him. The team's healer could not restore his health fast enough. As Wang Man shouted for his teammates to retreat, another blue streak shot forward, hitting the monster's weak point and cutting its health in half instantly. The creature writhed in pain as its health continued to drop before collapsing completely. Tan Fong's system notification confirmed that his damage contribution had exceeded 90%, granting him full loot rights and more rewards, including evolution points and assassin gear. Content with his haul, Tan Fong moved on, determined to grow even stronger. He knew that the resources and wealth of the government-backed group led by Wang Man could be useful, but for now, he focused on maximizing his growth. More monsters appeared, forcing him to form a temporary shield while others struggled to keep up with the escalating threats. Some teammates panicked, hesitating when faced with a towering creature covered in countless eyes. Before they could react, the monster launched purple tendrils from its pierced belly, instantly wiping out several fighters. Wang Man returned to the battlefield, frustrated by how monsters continued to swarm in groups. A few survivors realized they needed to reach level 3 to stand a chance of escaping, but it seemed nearly impossible with their current numbers. Meanwhile, a ranking board displayed the top players. Tan Fong, now known as the Shadow Assassin, held the #1 spot, followed by Wang Man and another warrior. The realization that someone had found a way to level up so quickly spread among the fighters. One of them, a determined woman, made an offer. A massive reward in cash for anyone who could uncover Shadow Assassin's method for leveling up so fast. She was convinced that learning his secret was the key to their survival. Unaware of the bounty placed on him, Tan Fong continued eliminating monsters efficiently. Each kill granted him more experience and evolution points, pushing him further ahead of the others. His grin widened as he read the system messages. He was growing at an unprecedented rate, and soon, no early or mid-game monster would be able to challenge him. Tan Fong had just spent all his evolution points without hesitation, upgrading his greedy hand ability. The system confirmed his purchase, boosting his assassin skill. His chance to loot extra items from corpses increased, along with a 20% probability of upgrading the loot's quality. As he watched his hand surge with energy, he wondered if further upgrades could push the boost even higher. Before he could dwell on it, a distant noise caught his attention. A powerful boss, the bronze cursor, had emerged. Judging by its state, it seemed to be burning its lifespan to evolve into silver. It had likely wiped out the large group of players nearby. Marking the spot on his map, Tan Fong considered his options. Unfortunately, his inventory was already full. There was no point in fighting the boss now if he couldn't carry any of the rewards. He decided to clear his bag first and return later. He shifted to a village where he had previously followed another group. Rumors were already spreading. Someone was offering 10 million in cash to the top assassin Shadow in exchange for help leveling up. The game's mechanics were brutal, with lifespan being used as currency. The government hadn't fully grasped the consequences yet, but for those trapped in the game, survival was all that mattered. Back in the village, Tan Fong set up shop in a corner, selling off gear and skills at discounted prices. It didn't take long for a crowd to gather, whispering about the mysterious masked player who had taken down a bronze boss. He had equipped 2 full bronze sets and was selling more. His masked appearance only fueled their curiosity, as his game avatar closely matched his real-world self. A masked woman approached him, interested in purchasing an ice spike skill. She was Grey Rose, ranked number 11 and one of the few using a mask like him. When he named the price, 100 days of tradable lifespan, she was shocked but ultimately agreed. Her team quickly decided it was worth the cost since Ice Spike would help them level up faster. She transferred the lifespan and the system confirmed the sale, increasing Tanfong's total tradable lifespan significantly. Just as the transaction ended, another player, Led 2, arrived. She had been searching for Shadow and saw an opportunity. Offering 10 million in cash, she demanded his help in reaching level 3. The crowd murmured in excitement, realizing the rumors were true. Someone was actually willing to pay such a high price for power. Led 2 boasted about her wealthy background, assuring everyone she could afford it. Tanfong, however, knew her history. In reality, she had led a crime syndicate, using money to buy lifespan and abduct innocent people. He had no interest in working with someone like her. Without hesitation, he refused. Led 2 was momentarily stunned, but quickly regained her composure, trying to tempt him with promises of luxury and power in the real world. However, Tanfong remained unmoved. When she grew frustrated and threatened him, his presence darkened, an overwhelming aura of menace spreading from him. Realizing the danger, Led 2 and her group fled in a panic. Once they were gone, Tanfong finished selling his gear, gaining even more lifespan. With everything sold, he was ready to deal with the bronze cursor. No one yet understood that tradable lifespan could be used to bring skills into reality. No one knew this game would soon unravel the world's existing order. Strength would become the only thing that mattered. Meanwhile, Led 2 and her group, exhausted from running, collapsed by the roadside. Furious, she swore revenge against Shadow, vowing to eliminate him once she returned to reality. Before she could act on her anger, a man stepped out from the shadows. He introduced himself as Mao Latu, a level 2 player with knowledge of leveling tricks. He offered to help her, promising that the 10 million reward would still be valid. Though skeptical at first, Led 2 listened as he explained the best way to distribute stat points for survival. Learning his strategy filled her with renewed confidence. With this new information, she began plotting her next move. Led 2 realized she had invested all her points into strength, but there was no way to undo it now. Luckily, she had found someone with experience. She decided to let Mao Latuan help her level up, but since he wasn't as strong as Shadow, she lowered her offer to 5 million. If he could get her to level 3, she would transfer the money once they returned to reality. Meanwhile, Tanfong returned to the secret zone, where he sensed the monster's powerful aura. As expected, the boss had evolved to silver. Wrapped in thick gray mist, it was still in the process of changing. If left alone, it would take another several hours to reach gold. Not wanting to wait, he immediately launched a surprise attack. His poison dart struck before the monster could react, rapidly lowering its health. Seizing the moment, he unleashed a series of strikes, cutting deep with every blow. Despite the damage, the monster still had a significant amount of health left. He estimated that silver bosses had at least twice the health of bronze ones. As it gathered dark energy, an ominous presence filled the area. Anticipating the attack, he vanished into the shadows, staying out of sight. The poison in its body began to take effect, and the monster let out a painful roar. Before he could strike again, a massive explosion engulfed the area. Thick smoke spread, and when it cleared, the monster stood weakly, its body covered in wounds. Observing from a distance, Tanfong analyzed the situation. This was a magic-based boss, specializing in wide-range attacks with high damage output. Direct confrontation was too risky. With his current health and defense, a single hit could be fatal. The monster soon spotted him and charged forward, its glowing magic orb pulsing with power. He swiftly retreated, waiting for the right moment to attack. As expected, the boss's energy began to wane, its movements slowing. Seizing the opportunity, he reappeared and struck a lethal blow. The attack drained most of its remaining health, forcing the boss to turn and flee. Recognizing its weakness, he quickly gathered energy and unleashed a final attack, finishing it off. The system announced his victory. He had gained a large amount of experience, reaching level 5, along with several evolution points and an increase in tradable lifespan. To his surprise, the system also triggered an additional bonus, upgrading one of the loot items from silver to gold. Excited by the rare find, he reviewed his inventory. Although he had obtained several valuable items, His bag was nearly full. If he wanted to continue hunting, he needed a way to store more loot. He hoped the boss had dropped an item that would expand his storage. As he finished looting, a golden glow suddenly emerged from the pile, catching his attention. Meanwhile, in another part of the game, Letu returned from battle in a much better mood than usual. Her team had finally reached level 3 thanks to the help of a skilled player. They celebrated their progress and prepared to return to town, feeling satisfied with their hard work. The rankings updated, revealing the top players. Shadow had reached level 5, while others had barely made it to 3. The rapid jump in levels shocked many, leaving them wondering what kind of boss he had defeated. Just minutes ago, he had been selling gear, and now he had gained 2 levels. Some players speculated about his connections, but most knew he had rejected massive offers before. Others grew frustrated, realizing the gap in power was increasing too fast. A few players decided it was time to warn their friends and family about the true nature of the game. Back in reality, Wang Man woke up in a dimly lit room, surrounded by concerned teammates. They had seen him nearly vanish and feared something had gone wrong. His exhausted expression worried them, but after a long moment of silence, he finally sat up. Outside the room, the building grew busy as urgent news spread. A call for an emergency meeting went out, signaling that something serious had happened. In the police station, officers discussed reports of hidden class teams forming within the game, recognizing that the situation was quickly spiraling out of control. Wang Man sat deep in thought, recalling how close he had come to losing everything before being rescued. The person who saved him, known as Shadow, was only level 3 at the time. However, by the time Wang Man and his group reached level 3, Shadow had already advanced to level 5. The rapid progress was shocking. The captain, unconvinced, slammed his fist on the table. 2 levels gained so quickly? That meant Shadow was now the strongest player in the world. The team speculated that he must have defeated a powerful boss, but something didn't add up. If Shadow had reached level 3 just an hour ago, why hadn't he returned yet? Did he have no family to check on? A heavy silence followed. One teammate suggested that Shadow might be a transient, someone without roots who had nothing to lose. The room grew tense, and the captain swiftly shut down any careless assumptions. This was no time for jokes or baseless theories. The situation was serious. The captain then revealed classified information. Reports showed that people who died in the game were also dying in reality. Scientists had confirmed multiple deaths that lined up with players' lifespans hitting 0 in the game. The truth was now clear. Losing all lifespan in Forsaken meant permanent death in the real world. The implications were staggering. This was no ordinary game. It was something beyond human understanding, possibly linked to an unknown force. Higher authorities had issued urgent orders to form elite vanguard teams in each region. Their mission was to explore Forsaken, gather intelligence, and build a specialized army. Every country was scrambling to gain an advantage, and falling behind could mean losing national power on a global scale. Vu's team was chosen to lead the investigation. The captain assigned Wang Man as vice captain and tasked him with picking his squad. Additionally, they were to locate Shadow and attempt to recruit him. If he truly was as skilled as reports suggested, he could be a valuable asset. The rest of the team was instructed to maintain stability in society. Everyone acknowledged their orders and prepared for action. Meanwhile, at Tondo School, a group of female students discussed recent rumors. One of them mentioned that players from the same real-world region often spawned in the same starting town within the game. This revelation left many worried. Some had family members who had never played video games before. If they were suddenly thrown into Forsaken, how would they survive? The group debated whether to stay and grow stronger first or rush home to protect their loved ones. Among them, a girl named Can You Do sat quietly, staring at her phone. She couldn't understand why Tan Fong hadn't reached out to her. He had always tried to make amends whenever she got upset, but now he was completely ignoring her. Worse still, he had even hit her, something not even her parents had ever done. The anger burned inside her. She recalled skipping school just to attend Tongfi's concert, something that had once seemed like a minor rebellion. Now, in light of the chaos Forsaken had unleashed, She realized how lucky she was to have gone when she did. If the game's dangers had been known earlier, she might never have had the chance. Her thoughts drifted back to the concert. The bright stage lights, the roaring crowd, and Tongfei's electrifying performance were still vivid in her mind. She missed him deeply. Then, an idea struck her. If Forsaken connected people through sleep, then Tongfei must be inside the game as well. If she entered, she could find him. Determined, she changed into comfortable pajamas and settled into bed. But before sleeping, she needed a strategy. She quickly messaged Tongfei, a skilled player, asking for advice. Tongfei, upon receiving her message, was taken aback. Ken Yu-do, someone he admired, was personally asking him for tips. Seeing this as an opportunity, he responded right away, eager to impress her. He recommended putting all starter points into agility, explaining that speed was crucial for survival in the early stages. She questioned whether agility was necessary for a mage, and he assured her that it was. Faster casting speed made a huge difference, especially at low levels. When she hesitated, he reassured her further. Once a player reached level 5, a teleportation array would activate, making travel much easier. With her plan set, Ken Yu-do prepared to enter Forsaken, determined to reunite with Tongfei. Ken Yu-do felt satisfied as she drifted into sleep, confident that she had secured strong allies. With protection in place, she believed she could advance quickly in the game and surpass Tan Fong before he even entered. Meanwhile, Tan Fong examined the glowing loot before him, amazed at the items he had obtained. Among them was a special ring, Cursed Ringgold, which granted significant stat boosts and dark resistance, making it highly valuable against monsters. Additionally, it increased weak point damage, making critical hits more effective. He could hardly believe his luck. Another discovery was a new skill, Shadow Slash, a powerful move exclusive to assassins. It allowed him to dash forward, remain in stealth briefly, and strike multiple enemies at once with enhanced damage. Realizing its potential, he quickly learned it. Noticing he had remaining evolution points, he decided to enhance his Greedy Hand skill. After investing points, its effects improved significantly, guaranteeing additional loot from each defeated enemy. This meant he could collect more rewards than others with every kill. With extra points left, he upgraded Shadow Slash, increasing its attack power and range. Although the cooldown remained unchanged, it allowed for continuous stealth attacks, making him nearly untouchable in battle. Additionally, he found a Silver Warrior skill book, Crimson Slash, which could be sold for a good amount of in-game currency. Just as he finished, rustling noises alerted him to an approaching threat. 3 monsters charged at him, but he reacted swiftly, using Shadow Slash to strike them down before they could retaliate. The system confirmed his victory, rewarding him with experience points and additional lifespan days. Calculating his progress, he realized that by reaching level 10, he could extract his skills and gear into reality. However, doing so required a significant amount of tradable lifespan. To achieve this, he planned to sell unnecessary items while continuing to level up. Elsewhere, Letu celebrated reaching level 3. As promised, she prepared to fulfill her agreement with a business associate. Confident in her connections, she finalized a deal to sell her tradable lifespan at a high price. She viewed the game as a profitable venture, believing that those who played smart could turn time into wealth. Tan Fong, on the other hand, returned to town and stepped into a large tower. A powerful energy surrounded him as he activated the Shelltown teleport array, gaining limited free teleportation access. However, since no other towns had active arrays, traveling beyond his starting location was still impossible. Recalling his past experiences, he remembered that in a previous life, Tong Pi had started in Firefly Town. To prepare, he set an alert to notify him the moment Firefly Town's teleportation array became active. This way, he would know when other players reached level 5, giving him an edge in tracking important movements within the game. Reaching the town early for teleportation advantages didn't hold much significance. The main objective was to reach level 10, then head towards the Forsaken Continent, where the real journey would begin. With that goal in mind, the character entered the streets, ready to sell gear and skills. The entire process lasted only 10 minutes, but his presence created a buzz. People recognized him immediately, whispering among themselves, noting his return. Some of the more prominent players took notice as well. By this point, he had accumulated 150 lifespan days, prepared for future trades. Previously, when he sold the Ice Spike skill, a player named Grey Rose had quickly risen to the 2nd rank. This time, anticipation was high. The crowd hoped he had magic attack skills for sale. A skill book was available, but it turned out to be Silver Crimson Slash, a skill intended for warriors. A particularly eager player rushed forward, claiming it before anyone else could react. The transaction was completed instantly, and he gained 300 tradable lifespan days from the sale. Some onlookers questioned whether such a trade was worth it. Others, however, saw the potential. Warriors with this skill could double their kill efficiency, making it possible to recover 300 days of lifespan quickly. The demand for items surged. Buyers scrambled for any available gear. Shoes, cloaks, and other equipment were snatched up within moments. The system processing, Tannen prepared for the upcoming challenge, knowing that acquiring assassin gear might not be useful if he couldn't use it properly. Meanwhile, Dial TU considered a proposal. If Tannen planned to sell gear to Captain V1 Man's squad, she wondered if he would offer them a discount. Without hesitation, Tannen agreed, making it clear that it wouldn't be a problem. She smiled, satisfied with the deal, and decided they would head out once the captain was online. With that settled, the next goal was set. Their destination was a gold-ranking boss. As they approached their mission, Dial TU grew uneasy. She realized that while Tannen as an assassin could rely on stealth, she, as a mage, had no way to withstand a direct assault from such a powerful enemy. Her concerns grew, but Tannen reassured her that he could handle the fight alone. All she needed to do was find a safe spot and observe. She hesitated, feeling uncertain. Could one person really take on a gold ranker boss alone? Before she could fully process the thought, Tannen disappeared in front of her eyes, vanishing without a trace. She called out in confusion, searching for him, but he was already gone. A special boss had appeared for a limited time, and there were only 45 minutes left before it would vanish. That was more than enough time to defeat it. Without hesitation, the Shadow class player unleashed a powerful skill, Shadow Slash. The attack landed cleanly, striking the monster and inflicting continuous damage of 549 points. Without wasting a second, he followed up with a combination of Poisoned Throwing Dagger and Phantom Strike. Both attacks landed precisely on the weak spot, dealing an additional 621 points of damage. During the intense battle, Ong made a crucial discovery. Many players were unaware of the boss's weak point. Instead of targeting its bones or hull, he realized the true vulnerability lay in the bell hanging at the bow of the ship. However, attacking this weak spot triggered a dangerous reaction. Each time it was struck, the ship would manipulate the surrounding water and unleash devastating area attacks. The powerful water columns caused immense damage, making it impossible for most players to endure unless they wore silver-grade armor. Fortunately, due to his agility as a Shadow class fighter, Ong was able to evade most of the attacks with precision. As the battle progressed, the situation became more difficult. Once the long-range assault ended, the boss summoned 12 rotten water spirits onto the battlefield. Each of these spirits possessed strength equivalent to a silver-tier boss. They moved unpredictably, creating chaos among the players. Every 3 minutes, the boss would summon another one, and if left unchecked, their numbers would quickly become overwhelming, leading to total defeat. However, Ong had an advantage. Thanks to his stealth abilities, the spirits were unable to detect him. He carefully positioned himself, ensuring that he could eliminate them one by one with a single precise strike. From a distance, an observer was left in complete shock. Ong's movements were swift and ghost-like, making it seem as if the boss had no chance to fight back. In a short amount of time, the boss had already lost a third of its total health. Just when victory seemed within reach, an unexpected problem arose. Ong's health was depleting rapidly, and he realized he would not survive much longer. However, he remained calm, knowing he would be able to revive and continue fighting if needed. Meanwhile, not far away, a group of men was in pursuit of someone who had escaped them. Their leader, who had once been a dominant tournament champion, felt humiliated by the turn of events. One of his subordinates arrived with an update. The target had been found standing at the edge of a cliff, while the Shadow class fighter was engaged in battle below. A sinister smile appeared on the leader's face as he prepared his men for an ambush. This time, he was determined not to fail. Back in the fight, Ong faced the toughest challenge yet. The Golden Ghost ship suddenly unleashed a massive soul wave, freezing everything within its range for 5 seconds. Trapped and unable to move, he knew that there was no way to escape. Without hesitation, he made a final decision. If he had to go down, he would take the boss with him. The system delivered a harsh notification. Death had taken its toll. A staggering 7,326 years of non-tradable lifespan were lost, along with 1,008 years and 87 days of tradable lifespan. As Tanfong fell, the enemy leader couldn't contain his amusement. The defeat of the so-called Big Boss, who had dared to challenge the Golden Ghost ship alone, was, to him, nothing but a foolish mistake. His attention then shifted to the battlefield, and his eyes gleamed with greed. The fallen Shadow class warrior had been carrying an immense amount of life essence, including a massive orb worth hundreds of days of lifespan. Recognizing an opportunity, he commanded his subordinates to attack. The boss had only half of its health remaining, making it an easy target. Encouraged by the promise of easy gains, his men erupted in excitement, celebrating their supposed victory. To them, Tanfong's defeat was a golden opportunity. Just as they prepared to strike, an enormous portal suddenly materialized in the sky. Without warning, they were all teleported back to town. Shock and confusion turned into fury as they realized what had happened. They cursed at their misfortune, unable to understand how the boss had managed to overpower them so easily. The moment they had entered the swamp, the deadly water columns had wiped them out instantly. Frustrated but unwilling to admit defeat, they resolved to return. There were still smaller enemies left to hunt, and they refused to believe the boss was unbeatable. Back inside the dungeon, glowing life essence orbs floated above the swamp. Tanfong, now revived, was puzzled by their sudden appearance. As he stepped forward to examine them, he realized something was off. Nearby, a familiar figure on a small boat rejoiced at his return. The group that had rushed into the battle before had been completely wiped out by the water columns. Reflecting on his past struggles against the Golden Ghost ship, Tanfong understood the situation more clearly. The ship only used its mobilizing skill once per battle, meaning the remaining half of its health could now be dealt with more easily. However, there was a significant risk. Once its health reached a critical point, it could disappear and reappear at a distance, making it much harder for an unprepared player to finish it off. His thoughts were interrupted as the Golden Ghost ship emerged once again in the distance. His focus sharpened, his intent now fully set on victory. Without hesitation, he hurled a poisoned dart toward the lifespan orb resting on the ship's deck. The projectile moved with incredible speed, striking its target precisely. A mysterious pink aura erupted from the ship, rapidly spreading across the swamp. Tanfong remained unshaken, his body poised for battle. He had already studied the ship's movement patterns, and he knew exactly how to counter them. Seizing the perfect moment, he dashed forward, wielding Phantom Slash to unleash a relentless assault on the Golden Ghost ship. Meanwhile, the group of adversaries who had previously mocked him now stood frozen on the shore, watching in stunned silence as the battle unfolded before their eyes. As the intense battle continued, a group of hostile players observed from a distance. Their leader, filled with urgency, pointed at the battlefield where Tanfong was still engaged in combat with the Golden Ghost ship. They knew they had to seize the right moment to strike. Their plan was simple: eliminate him and claim the spoils. On the opposite side of the battlefield, Dolly Z noticed their arrival and her frustration grew. These troublemakers had returned, intent on ruining everything. She understood the stakes. Tanfong was close to finishing the boss, and she couldn't let these intruders interfere. Without a moment of hesitation, she began chanting, channeling energy into her staff. The sky darkened as she lifted it high, calling upon powerful forces. Instantly, countless bolts of lightning descended, striking the group with unrelenting force. 2 of them were eliminated before they even had time to react. Fear and confusion spread among the remaining enemies. They scanned their surroundings, struggling to identify the source of the attack. Panic set in when one of them spotted Dolly Z standing in the distance. Their leader, angered by her interference, gave the order to eliminate her. Realizing the danger, Dali Z clutched her staff tightly and turned to flee. The group pursued her, shouting threats as they closed the distance. Meanwhile, two unknown figures remained hidden behind a tree, quietly observing the chaotic scene. They remained still, watching as events unfolded. Back at the battlefield, Tan Fong maintained his relentless assault on the Golden Ghost ship. His strikes were precise, gradually wearing down its defenses. The boss attempted to retaliate, but its attacks had weakened. He exhaled sharply, knowing the battle was nearing its end. Despite its relatively low level, the ship's golden rank made it incredibly resilient. Fighting it alone had been an arduous challenge, and the prolonged battle had attracted unwanted attention. Even as he remained focused on the boss, Tan Fong remained wary of his surroundings. He had already noticed groups of players lurking nearby. Some were positioned on the cliff, the ones who had been previously defeated, while another guild stood near the swamp, waiting for the perfect moment to ambush him and steal the loot. Their strategy was clear, but they had miscalculated. He wouldn't let them take what was rightfully his. Determined to end the fight, he activated his ultimate skill, Shadow Execution. The finishing blow struck true, and a system notification appeared instantly. He had slain the Golden Ghost ship, a golden-ranked boss. A massive amount of experience was gained, allowing him to reach level 8. Evolution points were awarded, along with a substantial amount of tradable lifespan days. The system recognized his achievement, broadcasting his name across the server as the first player to defeat a golden rank boss. The announcement sent shockwaves through the gaming world. Players in town erupted in disbelief. A golden boss had been defeated for the first time, and the name Dark Shadow was now at the center of attention. Theories and speculations spread rapidly. Some believed he was a prodigy from their country, while others struggled to comprehend how a player had progressed so rapidly. One individual, Tanzi Yu, frowned upon hearing the news. She recognized the significance of this feat. If she could convince this player to help her level up, she would reach her own goal much faster. As the Golden Ghost ship faded, it left behind valuable loot, scattered across the battlefield. However, Tan Fong was nowhere to be seen. A hidden guild that had been planning to ambush him erupted in excitement. They assumed he had fled, leaving the rewards unclaimed. Their leader quickly ordered one of his subordinates to locate him. Following the command, the hunter among them raised his bow and fired a green energy arrow into the sky. From the arrow emerged a massive bird, an ethereal hawk with keen vision. It soared above the battlefield, scanning the area for any sign of Tan Fong. Unseen in the shadows, Tan Fong watched as the hawk circled overhead. He immediately recognized the skill being used against him. This hunter had an anti-stealth ability, which explained his confidence in attempting an ambush. However, Tan Fong remained calm. His Dark Reaper class had a stealth level far beyond what this hunter could counter. The difference in skill was too great. After an extended search, the hawk found nothing. One of the guild members reported back, confirming their failure. Their leader smirked, believing that Tan Fong had fled in fear. Little did they know, he was still nearby, silently observing and preparing for his next move. The enemy leader smirked with confidence, leading his guild towards the scattered treasures. They believed the rewards were theirs as long as they could guard them for 5 minutes. Excitement filled the air as the guild members cheered, convinced of their impending victory. However, before they could celebrate further, a barrage of energy slashes suddenly descended upon them. A shadowy figure moved with incredible speed, striking without hesitation. In mere moments, the entire guild was wiped out, their characters forcefully logged out of the game. As silence fell over the battlefield, Tan Fong emerged from the darkness, scanning the area. He let out a quiet chuckle, satisfied with the outcome. The loot now lay unguarded before him, and there was no one left to challenge him. As he glanced at the scattered items, a thought crossed his mind. He suddenly remembered the girl from earlier. He quickly looked around, searching for her, but she was nowhere to be seen. Shrugging off the thought, he turned his attention to his abilities. He had earned a significant number of evolution points and valuable rewards from the fallen boss. Without hesitation, he decided to enhance his most powerful skill. Activating his ability, he initiated the skill evolution process. A system notification flashed before him, informing him of the upgrade. His skill, Greedy Hand, had evolved from Diamond rank to Mythic rank. The bonus loot drop rate had increased significantly, and now all loot had a guaranteed upgrade by 1 tier. Reading the notification, he smirked, realizing the immense advantage this gave him. With newfound anticipation, he activated his upgraded skill. Instantly, a surge of power spread through the area as the loot absorbed the energy. One by one, the items began to glow, their quality increasing before his eyes. System messages flooded in, confirming the rewards he had obtained. Among them, he noticed a rare item, Ghostfire Spirit Bell. He couldn't contain his excitement. It was an incredibly rare find, and to receive 2 at once was almost unheard of. As he examined the item's description, a sudden cry interrupted his thoughts. A familiar voice echoed through the battlefield, filled with fear. It was Dolly Z. Her urgent plea for help cut through his focus. His expression darkened as he realized she was in danger. He immediately called out, scanning the surroundings for any sign of her. The tension in the air thickened as he prepared to move, ready to face whatever threat had appeared.